So, do brothers and sisters ever fight with each other? And do brothers and sisters ever take things from each other or try to steal things from each other? That ever happened? Yep, sometimes that happens. And in fact, that happened in the story that I'm going to read to you today. This is a story about two brothers who were named Jacob and Esau. And they were actually twins, which means they were in their mother's womb at the same time. But Esau was just a little bit earlier. He was born first, maybe just by a few minutes. And in those days, being older was really important. And as he was the older son, Esau was going to get a special blessing from his father, Isaac. And Isaac, Esau's father, told him to go out into the fields and hunt for an animal and bring him back the meat, and then Isaac would give him a blessing. But when Esau was gone, Jacob's mother, Rebekah, came to him and said, "Why don't you go and take his blessing? Why don't you go and pretend to be Esau and take that blessing?" And an important detail of the story is that Isaac was blind. He was so old that his eyes had stopped working. And if you're blind, what senses do you use to recognize who somebody is? If you can't see them, how would you tell who they were? What would you use? Which senses? What other senses do you have? You have touch, yep. You can feel if they feel like the person you're talking to. And you'd also listen to them, right? Because you can tell by the sound of their voice who they are. And so Isaac couldn't see Jacob, which made it easier for him to pretend to be Esau, but he had to make himself feel like Esau. And he had to make himself smell like Esau, because everybody has their own smell, just a little bit different. And one of the biggest differences between Jacob and Esau, we're told, is that Jacob was a smooth-skinned person, but Esau was hairy. So everybody has a little bit of hair on their skin, but some people have a lot more than others. So if you kids want to touch your arm, touch your arm or your hand. If you're a little kid, your skin's probably going to feel pretty smooth. But if you're a grown-up, and especially a grown-up man, you might have a lot more hair on your skin. And it seems like Esau had a lot of hair on his skin. And so what Rebekah told Jacob is, it says that Rebekah took the choice clothes of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. So she gave Jacob Esau's clothes, which means that he'll smell like Esau. And it says that she took the skins of some goats and put them on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And so I have here a skin that comes from an animal, or a piece of one. It's sort of like a goat skin. It's the same kind of skin as a goat. And so what Jacob did is he put this, or what Rebekah did for Jacob, is she put it on the back of his hands. And she put it on the back of his neck, because when Esau went to hug Jacob, he would touch him on the back of his neck like this. And when he said hello to him, he would probably hold his hand and feel the hair on his hand. So you can feel that when Isaac touched Jacob's hand, that's what it would have felt like. He would have felt all the hair. You feel that? Feel all the hair? Esau must have been a pretty hairy person if he felt like a goat. And so that's what Jacob did. He put on Esau's clothes and he put on the goat skins, and he went to his father and he pretended to be Esau. And so he went in and he said, "My father." And Isaac said, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" And Jacob said to his father, "I'm Esau, your firstborn. I've done just as you told me. Please arise, sit, and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly?" So he says to Jacob, who he thinks is Esau, "Why are you back so soon?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God brought it to me." But Isaac obviously isn't quite sure that this is really Esau. And so he says, "Please come near that I may feel you, my son, whether you are really my son Esau or not." And so Jacob went near to Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. And so he blessed him. And then, when Jacob had pretended to be Esau and stolen his brother Esau's blessing and left, Esau came back. And how is Esau going to feel when he gets back and finds out what happened? Not going to feel happy, is he? No. And the story says, it happened as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He also had made savory food and brought it to his father, and said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that your soul may bless me." And his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" And so he said, "I'm your son, your firstborn, Esau." And then Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, "Who? Where is the one who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate of it before you came, and I have blessed him. And indeed, he shall be blessed." So Isaac says, "Someone else just came, and I gave him the blessing." When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me, me also, my father." But he said, "Your brother came with deceit and has taken away your blessing." And Esau said, "Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now look, he has taken away my blessing." And he said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" Then Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Indeed, I have made him your master, and all his brethren I have given to him as servants. With grain and wine I have sustained him, and what now shall I do for you, my son?" And Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me, me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, "Behold, your dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass when you become restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck." So Isaac makes a prophecy that because Jacob got the blessing, Esau is going to have to serve Jacob. Jacob is going to be like the more important of the 2 brothers for a while. But then eventually that will change. And it said Esau will break off Jacob's yoke from his neck, which means that he won't have to serve Jacob anymore. So Esau was pretty upset, wasn't he? He was really hurt that his blessing had been stolen. And that's one of the messages of this story, that when we lie and when we steal and when we take things from other people, that really hurts them. And Jacob, he actually had to run away from his family because Esau was so mad at him that he realized he wasn't safe, and he had to run to a faraway country. And we're going to be learning about the story of Jacob for a little while now, and what we're going to be reading or learning about is what Jacob had to do in order to be ready to come back to his own family. And we're going to be reading about what it took for Jacob and Esau to make things right again. Jacob definitely wasn't kind to Esau. He took something from Esau that belonged to him. And now, in the story going forward, he's going to have to see what he has to do to make it right. Amen.